Welcome to Operations Management course Bus 3110 at Centenary University. I am Gregory Lynch, adjunct instructor for the course. This lecture is based on the text Operations and Supply Chain Management, 14th edition by Robert Jacobs and Richard Chase, published by the McGraw-Hill Companies. This lecture will be covering Chapter 2. The learning objectives for the chapter. What is a sustainable business strategy? Defining operations and supply chain management. Explain how operations and supply chain management strategies are implemented. Understand the risks. And evaluate productivity. So we have a key concept is sustainability, right? Which, when we're running an operation, we have certain objectives, maybe to shareholders to return the greatest value to those that have invested in the firm. But we've recognized that we have another set of stakeholders, which may or may not be the shareholders, right? And a stakeholder is someone who's vested in the maybe the success or the outcome of our activities. And these stakeholders may be the employees of the firm. They may be shareholders. They may be community members that have really nothing to do with the firm but are impacted by activities. So we have the concept of the triple bottom line, which makes sure that we're measuring not just the profit of a firm or its productivity, but overall its social responsibility and how it's treating the environment, as well as its economic position. So the elements of the triple bottom line are social, economic, and environmental. Where social is really dealing with people and the relationship that we have with employees in terms of labor, the greater community, where this firm is operating, and ensuring that we're working with people in a fair way. You'll see this in fair trade. Coffee is a good example of making a branded claim on putting an emphasis on the social aspect of the triple bottom line. The economics are, of course, key. Firms not in business without generating a profit, right? So that has to be part of the equation. What this is saying is that it's not the only part of the equation. So a firm has responsibilities to ownership or shareholders to provide the return. And the environment, right? So the activities, it can't negatively impact the environment. That at least has to be measured. So you can see it's very common now. Companies not just reporting their CO2 emissions, but setting goals to reduce those CO2 emissions. And that's a public commitment in terms of the environmental aspect of the triple bottom line. So operations, in order to deliver on what a firm is promising their customers, they need to set forth a strategy on how they'll deliver that. These strategies are typically, they're not a 100-year plan. They're more traditionally a year, 2 years, maybe 3, but 5 years down the road, business changes so quickly that to make a 5-10 year plan is not It's not really effective. It's hard to see that far in the future um, to make an operations plan about where we're going to build a plant or what's our supply chain going to look like in 10 years. These are more typically 1, 2, 3 year lookouts. And we have to see what the company does well. That really feeds into the to the strategy. What are we trying to do here? What are we what product, what service are we uh, looking to deliver, and how do we differentiate ourselves from our competition, which is going to have customers choose us over that competition. We can see this over the different competitive dimensions in terms of what's our relationship with our competition. What are we offering? Are we offering cost and which will reduce our price? Um, in the example here on the slide, it's Walmart, right? They make a price play to the consumer that they'll deliver that product to you, at the best price that you can find anywhere on the market. Or do we make a quality play? Do we have do we build our brand that is notable for its quality? And customers will go to that brand because they and think of quality, and they'll make their decision based on that. Delivery speed, right? Amazon is the example on the slide. It's pretty well known right now. If you think of next day delivery, Amazon is only increasing. It's the awareness of that service offering is just ever increasing. I can recall the delivery from a drone just a couple of years ago was thought of as something that's wow, that's pretty far out there, and these things are happening today pretty quickly. Reliability. So, speed and reliability are two different things. They'll get maybe they'll get it there quick, but will they get it there exactly when I need it, right? Do I want it as soon as possible? Well, if I'm waiting, sitting at home, sure, that's great. Get it to me as soon as possible. But and that could be for a business as well. Get it as soon as you can. But also, there could be another side to that, which is deliver it to me when I need it. Right? Maybe I don't have capacity to store it, so I don't want it early, and I don't want it late. I want it just when I need it. If I'm flying to to Colorado for a ski trip, and I FedEx my ski clothes and equipment and stuff, I don't want it to arrive at the hotel early, right? That would be confusing for the hotel, and maybe I'd have to pay a storage fee or something. I want it right when I arrive. So I would be looking for reliability at that point. If I'm going to start a job in the factory, and I have just in time delivery, I don't want it there early. Maybe I have a tank with a limited capacity that I can't offload that material into the tank because the tank is already it's already occupied, and it's I want the delivery when I have it in my schedule that tank will be unoccupied and ready to accept it. Handle changes in volume. So, are you going to make are you going to be known as the company that can deliver regardless of what market conditions are? In the example, I have the Exxon gasoline. So there's always that that panic before a snowstorm, that people are filling their tanks, and we could see that it's really pushing the supply chain to its to its limit. Is it the limit, right? Is a snowstorm bringing the supply chain to the limit? Do you have a gas station or a certain company that you're confident that they'll be able to handle those type of spikes within the market, and uh, they'll be able to handle that volume change? Or flexibility, new product introduction. Um, so, can you change out your products quickly? Are you agile? Respond to the market, respond to trends, and come out with a new offering. Is that your competitive dimension that you're going to focus on? And of course, we have trade-offs. We can't be all things to all people, right? Firm can't be all things to all customers. So this is when we're trading off what's our core competency. Um, what are we going to look to do best? What are the few things that we can do? I like the example in this image up here. Good, cheap, and fast. You can pick any two, right? Uh, so what are we gonna be known for? What are we gonna focus on? Um, what firms can do is that they can be established in that, right, to provide quality and and service, perhaps. Maybe they're not so much known for being reasonably priced, right? But maybe they get they launch a lower priced model. We could consider that straddling. They're trying to take their two competencies and maintain them, while then also getting into the competency of maybe a competitor. Maybe Apple, it could be an example where they have for sure um, a quality to their products and a service aspect. Um, they maintain the Apple stores. The staff is well trained. They know what they're doing. They're responsive, and so those are their two competitive advantages. Um, and then they come out with maybe a lower priced phone, and that's really to compete. That they're now straddling to compete with their competition at the lower end of the the, the cost market. So with our strategy, we have to make sure we take into account the risks. So we're running an operation; these are tangible things. Um, some things can stop that operation, right? Um, and if our store is out, we're no longer able to service our customers that are looking to come to our store, uh, which then we're not generating any revenue. Um, if we are maybe we're supplying components to our customers that go into their products, right? So if we fail to deliver, we run the risk of shutting them down, which customers are not very happy about. Um, so we have supply chain risks. Um, these are things that happen on a daily day-to-day basis, right? You have to deal with employees' attendance, and maybe there's a few people out, and it lowers your overall uh, capacity. Maybe you have equipment that goes out, or inventory that you haven't received on time, and these are risks to the operation. They're generally manageable. Um, it's a day-to-day thing. We then have also disruption risks. These could be, large scale events that really take us out of operation. What happens if there's a hurricane or a labor strike or some natural disaster? We have to. These things are risks to the operation, and they need to be planned for. So firms have to identify what those risks are to ensure they can continue to service their customers. As an end consumer, it could be irritating if you walk, if you go to the store and the store is closed, right? Because there was some event that happened and it closed the store. It's that might have a, if you were going to get a birthday cake or something, right, for a special event, that it becomes it becomes more severe. Day to day, maybe it's not the end of the world. If you're supplying components to a customer and it shuts down their operation now, that's again brings the severity up. So it's the responsibility of a firm to identify the potential risks, assess what impact they would have. Would they be totally out of business? Would there be capacity would be limited, or service would delivery times would be longer, things like that, and then to develop a plan to lower or eliminate the risk. A popular tool is the risk assessment matrix, so you can really identify all the what could possibly happen, and then identify what the severity is if it did happen, and then what's the likelihood of it happening. How productive are we going to be with this strategy? Right. So productivity is a pretty straightforward equation with our outputs over our inputs. So what do we get out from what we put in? This will tell us how well we're using our resources, and we could look at the whole, total measure of productivity, which is just that. Maybe for a factory, right? How many employees, equipment, energy, everything we pay for it went into the inputs, the time and the materials and the energy, and then what did we get out of it? So as a total measure, we could see, all right, this plant is operating at such and such a productivity, but then we could look at maybe some more specific measures to say what's the effectiveness of a certain function within the operation, to see what their productivity is. So that's the total measures, multi-factor measures, and then partial measures. So with the total measure is just that. What is our total input for what we got in terms of the output? So here's on this the table that's from the text as well. We have the output. We had a number of units and how much work in process do we have. What were the dividends? And then we have the input. So the labor, the material, capital, energy, and other expenses. So the total input to what we put into that to make the output. And then so we could see that we put more into what we what we got out in the total measure. We could also take another look at the multi-factor and say, well, you know what, I'm responsible for the labor and material, right? I'm the plant manager, so let me check my productivity against the total output, so we can get another measure there. And then we have partial measures. So we're just going to put one against the other. Total output versus energy, right? How much energy do we put in? And these are relative measures, right? Here's our total output, and here's our energy. Two variables, and what did we get out of it? And we're going to want to look at these different firms in different industries are going to have different productivity rates, and it's interesting to then benchmark those. So that concludes Chapter 2 on strategy, and I leave you with Peter Drucker. There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. Thanks.